Year. I'm so glad for it, and that's what I'm taking to Arizona.
Is that your 30 or is that lower rated?
That's rated to 30. The other one I had was rated to 20, I think. But this one has a ton down and nice loft. So 30 plus I have a liner. I have a synthetic liner. That'll give me another maybe 10 degrees of protection, and then I'll just wear every stitch of clothing I have, because beginning in this Arizona trail, I'll show you more. But you think Arizona, oh, it's gonna be sunny and warm. But I'm starting in March, and way up at elevation, it's cold. Up at 10,000 feet, it's down to 18 degrees at night. So I'm gonna need that quilt and that liner and every stitch of clothing that I have. Leslie, what bag are you carrying?
Okay, so I freeze. I sleep very, very cold. So I am starting out with the Enlightened Equipment Conundrum. So I actually paid a little extra to get the 950 fill because I want a lighter weight. It is 0 degree. Because I'm gonna switch it out. Of course, right after the Smokies, probably switch it out for a 20 degree that I have, but I am taking this, which I don't remember the weight of it, but not a whole lot. I went for the sleeping bag because I just didn't want a quilt. If I get any airflow, I'm going to be very cold because I sleep very cold. Ask my husband, at the end of the night, there are no covers on his side of the bed. So this is what I'm taking.
I sleep hot. I can get away with a little bit less, but
I would
different
die
people.
in that. I would be so cold.
Yeah,
Right
Enlightened Equipment is another boutique company that just
Yeah.
makes really high-end stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it could get down to 15 degrees on the AT, and I'm starting out in 4 weeks. So
Easily.
it
I
could
started the Appalachian Trail this last time. We started April 21st, and we still had below freezing nights. I still woke up in the morning with my water bottle frozen solid.
Yeah.
So, but
That's what I'm thinking.
so after she makes it to the Smokies, she'll swap out to lighter gear. And another aspect of ultralight hiking is the more often you can switch out gear, the better. You know, if you can send and keep and carry just what you need for that part of the trail, it's great. Me, I don't have that luxury or those finances, so I kind of have to hike the whole trail, with whatever I start with. Jackie carried Feather Friends. Yeah, a very nice bag. It was super expensive, but in those cold nights in the Smokies, it was really good for her, because she also sleeps real cold and everything, so yeah, that was a nice bag. As far as like clothing and what I wear and stuff, not this hoodie, but I wear the same pants. These are the same ones, except in lighter. I'm wearing this exact same shirt for Arizona. I have the exact same shoes. These are Solomon Speed Cross. I've been through a bunch of pairs of these. I'll talk about foot gear more in a minute. It's hard to see, but in this picture I'm wearing my mosquito netting, which I wear, feels like all the time anyways. I don't mind mosquito netting, and as soon as there's a bug out, I put it on. Most people hate mosquito netting. It makes it a little bit warmer, it's distracting, people say it's hard to breathe, but mosquito netting for me is super versatile. I wear it for bugs, I wear it for if I'm the first one down the trail in the morning and there's spider webs all across the trail, or if I'm in the wintertime and it snows blowing really hard and hurting my eyes, I put mosquito netting on. It fixes all that. There's Jackie and I. So another thing I want to mention with this picture is, I do long pants and long shirt every hike. Even in the desert, even in the heat. Why? Sun and bugs. That's it, sun and bugs. I'm trying to protect from sun and bugs. I'm out of doors 24/7, so my risk for skin cancer, I think, is astronomically higher, and the bugs. But I see people hiking in shorts, running shorts, and no shirt. You'll see people out on the trail. You can do it that way. You save some weight on clothing and everything. You're probably gonna get scraped up. You're probably gonna get bit to death by bugs. But, I guess I'm trying to say there's different ways to do it. For me, it's long pants, long shirt every time. For the foot gear. So, like a lot of people in 2011, I started with big, over-the-ankle Gore-Tex boots, because that's what I thought would be best. And it's good until you get saturated. And until you've been in the rain for like 3 days straight, that water will get into your boots. And a Gore-Tex lining on your boot is like, it turns into like an aqua sock. It just holds the water against your boot, and your boot will not dry out until you either get near some heat or get indoors. So now, when everyone else's foot gear is dry, you're still squishing along. So I eventually turned to trail hikers, trail runners, people show them, but tennis shoes. These are the same ones. It's actually mesh on the top, and these things are like slippers with cleats. Really grippy, but very lightweight. They get wet instantly, but they dry instantly. So if you splash through a puddle, yeah, your feet get soaked, they'll be dry in an hour, which is way better than a heavy over-the-ankle boot that's just holding water, against my feet. Leslie, what are you wearing?
Brooks Cascadias. So this is a new pair, but I've been wearing these for, 3 or 4 years now.
Very popular shoe.
Cascadias. I mean, they're great for narrow feet. If you got wide feet, it's not going to work for you. I think they're great. The insoles suck, I take them out, I use Obo's insoles, Dirty Girl Gators. The nice thing about the Brooks is not all of them, all the shoes have the Velcro on the back.
Right.
Already built in,
Right.
but the Brooks do, so for your gator, so, yep, that
I
was
would
my
say
Dirty Girl
this
gator.
past time through the Appalachian Trail, I saw probably like 40% Hoka.
Yep,
I would say 40%
Ultras probably.
Ultras,
Yep.
some Salomon,
Yep,
some Brooks,
Yep.
and then a smattering of like other.
Yep.
But Hoka and Ultra are the main shoes
Yeah.
I saw out there. That's what everyone's going to. Gators are good and bad. So first of all, Dirty Girl Gators is a pretty cool company.
Yeah,
It's
they have
hikers
cool
making stuff for
colors.
hikers. Yeah, they have wild colors.
Yep.
And you can see how it protects your ankle from getting sticks and stones and all that stuff in there. If you find yourself stopping every half hour because you get a stone in your shoe, wear some Gators. If you're hiking in snow, certainly I have a couple kinds of Gators. I have ones like that, and then I also have huge Gore-Tex, really thick, material that go from my knee all the way down to my ankle. Outdoor Research Gators for hiking in snow. The bad part about Gators is if you do get a stone or a stick in there, it's a little bit of a headache to undo the whole gator and get to your shoe, and with my luck, at the minute I got the whole thing reassembled, it would happen again.
Yeah.
So I didn't wear Gators, but most people do,
Yeah,
at least on the
I
Appalachian
love
Trail. Yeah. I mentioned the over-the-ankle boots. I wear these, so if you are hiking in snow, you're deliberately hiking in the winter, then I do wear an over-the-ankle Gore-Tex boot, and I wear them for work too.
So what was the other one called? What was the trail hiker called?
These are Salomon Speed Cross 5. Yep. That's been my shoe, Speed Cross 4, Speed Cross 5 for years. And I wear them right out of the box until they disintegrate, until they fall apart. And it's a tricky thing. If you go, you want to get the most miles possible out of your shoes, but if you go too far and you have a catastrophic failure, the sole falls off or something, now you're really screwed. So it's a fine balance between getting as many miles out of the shoe as you can and getting stuck on the trail because you're half barefoot. I've also worn Obos. I've worn, I feel like a million different pairs of shoes out there. I'm super fortunate in that I can wear a size 12 pretty much anything I've been able to get away with, but some people have to wear, they only can wear certain sizes. My friend Jackie went through, I think, 3 or 4 different pairs of shoes. Just as a rookie on the AT, her feet were getting chopped up, tons of blisters. She would try a new shoe. There was a process of breaking those in. She really struggled, but as I told her the whole time, every rookie does. Leslie, even though you're an experienced hiker, I know you've done huge hunks of the Appalachian Trail before, your feet are gonna get blistered and then calloused and then wide. Mine went up a whole size and a half the first time I did a thru hike and they've never gone back down. But yeah, foot gears, it's important. I wore Ultras and Ultras I thought were really good, super comfortable. They have a big wide foot box on them, but after about 400 miles, they were done. They were squished, the sole was all squished. The consensus, or at least what I hear, is great shoe, but they don't last that long. I'm hoping to do all of Arizona, all 800 miles in this one pair of shoes. I have one pair in backup, but they already have a few hundred miles on them, so we'll see. Darn tough socks. I didn't used to be a believer because they're expensive. It's like $30 for a pair of socks, but they last like crazy. I'm wearing them right now. These are the Darn Toughs I'll take on Arizona. I used to be a Smart Wool guy. I wore those all the time. And then I read somewhere that Scott Williamson just used a plain pair of men's dress socks, just black dress socks that you buy, 3 pairs for $9. And he said, they don't last very long, but they're not very expensive. They get wet, but they dry instantly, and they weigh next to nothing. And he wears those all the time. I did it for a few hikes. For most of the Continental Divide Trail, I used just plain men's dress socks, but they do wear out pretty quick. You have to have a backup pair, kind of handy. Then I went to Darn Tough, and they just last forever. Some people don't like them because if you get over the calf, they are almost like a compression sock. They really squeeze around the calf, which for me feels great, but some people don't like them. Camp shoes. So people bring Crocs or flip-flops, all kinds of stuff to wear either like around camp, just a chance to get out of your boots or your shoes. You can wear them for river crossings. You can wear them in town. They're pretty handy. And I used to carry them, but these days, I just can't justify the weight. They're a little bit heavy, and I don't use them enough to justify the weight. Leslie, you carrying camp shoes?
I am, yep.
Where
I
you
can't
at?
wear those because my feet are too narrow for that.
Yep.
So I have these Crocs, they're Crocs Swiftwater. So I
Nice.
really like these. They're Crocs, but they're Swiftwater, and
Right.
You know, if I have to do any kind of crossing or whatever, I like the tow.
Especially good for river crossing.
Yeah, I mean, they're fairly light. I've had these forever, just super
Yeah.
comfortable for me, so.
Right.
They don't dry as fast as I'd like them to, but hang them on the outside of your pack, they'll dry, so.
I totally see why you're starting with them. I'll be curious if you finish with them.
I don't know, we'll see. Let's try to get out of my shoes.
You suck up the water, the river crossings, you just wear your boots and, or you take them off?
Now that I wear trail shoes, I just splash through my trail shoes, and I don't have to worry. I get good grip on the bottom. I worry less about falling. And toward the northern part of the AT, man, those rivers are ferocious. Lightweight end of things, you can just what we call eat cold. For the whole state of New Mexico, when I was doing the Continental Divide Trail, I just carried rice and ramen, and whatever else my carbohydrate was. And about an hour before I stop, I would pour water into the Ziploc baggie. And after about an hour, it sucks up all the water, and you can eat it. It's cold, the rice is a little crunchy, but hunger is the best spice, so who cares? You know, you add some protein to it, like those foil packets of tuna, or sliced pepperoni, or hunks of cheese, or, you know, whatever, and that's what I would eat every night. It got old after a while, but I was glad for the weight. My current kit is this. I have a 1 liter titanium pot that I use over there, and I use canister fuel. And what you can't see is there's a little stove screwed on the top there. So you just get your canister, you screw the little stove on top, put your 1 liter pot in there. A 16-ounce fuel lasts me for about a month, and that's really only a hot dinner. You know, occasional hot coffee during the morning, but mostly just hot dinner, and I can make it last for a month. 8-ounce can, obviously 2 weeks. I carry that in a spork. Leslie, what are you carrying?
All right, so pretty similar. I carry a long-handled titanium spoon. Mine is, yes, a little titanium pot as well. I have this, I like it because it's a ever-new titanium pot. It's got the rubber handle, so I don't have to worry about burning myself. I use same thing as a canister, a Soto Windmaster stove, so it's very similar to.
Pull out the stove, will you? Because I'm sure it's similar to mine, and I didn't bring mine.
Yeah, little assembly.
Same kind of thing. Yep.
Yeah, you just kind of put the top on.
Yep, you screw it onto the canister.
Threw it right onto the canister.
And be careful, because if you cross-thread that stove, it's ruined. When I was on the Pacific Crest Trail in 2012, I got a fuel canister out of a hiker box, kind of a take a penny, leave a penny kind of thing for hikers. You know, you throw in their gear that you don't need and you take out stuff that you do need. So I threw in some batteries or something, and I pull out this canister, and I was like, oh, it's still 3/4 full. I wonder who's throwing away fuel. And when I went to screw my stove on there, it cross-threaded. It had cross threads, and it wrecked my stove. And then every canister I tried after that, I screwed that one up. So it's really thin aluminum on both the fuel cans. So.
Goes right on. The only reason I got this is because I thought I'd be too clumsy to go with the other ones. I like the 4 points of contact for my pot.
You'll be glad in high winds and stuff.
Probably a fraction of an ounce more, but you know what? And I like the igniter. But the one with 3, I know I'm going to kick that pot over. I'm sure.
Or to blow off. I think the 4 sports is
yeah,
good.
and I like this because it's also it's a pasta pot, so it's got a little handle.
Drain water.
Yeah, and you can drain it.
Yep.
And you know, I don't have to worry about carrying a pot gripper. So.
Right. So they always say it's expensive. It's cheap to lose pounds and expensive to lose ounces. So losing pounds is like, hey, I decided not to carry some huge heavy piece of gear, this big jacket or whatever. There, saved a pound. But when you're looking at titanium versus aluminum for the same pot, it's insanely expensive.
Yes, that's like $70 now.
Yep, it's a few grams lighter. If you come up at the end, you'll see I have my 1 liter titanium pot, and then I have my old mess kit, the aluminum one, and it's just barely heavier. But man, when you're out there going up and down those hills, you start wondering, what the hell is in this pack that weighs so much? I'm dying here. And you start looking to shave just grams here and there. It's called Isopro. It's an a butane, it's a fuel mix, is what I'm trying to say. And it's good, but unless it's really cold. Even the ones labeled 4-season, when it's really cold, you got to put that in your sleeping bag with you. In the morning, it doesn't freeze, but the fuel separates in there. And it burns a weak, like little blue flame. I think it's only the propane at the top. So yeah, basically in freezing cold temps, anything you don't want frozen in the morning, you have to put in your sleeping bag with you. So canister fuel, some water, toothpaste, anything liquid is going to be frozen solid in the morning. So you gotta put it in your sleeping bag, and it gets crowded.
Especially your filter.
Gotta put your filter. You let your filter freeze, and it doesn't work as right. It doesn't work right. I used to carry a huge first aid kit. I was gonna bring it tonight because it's almost comically huge. It's the the A bag I carried when I was in the Army. You know, it's a big canvas bag. It had my field surgical kit in there and all this stuff. This whole puffy, the front of it is all sewn with dental floss. The zipper tore out, and I just sewed it in the field with dental floss. That pack is sewn with dental floss. It's all over the place.
My water bottle holder also has a dental floss fix.
Nice.
Because it was ripping. So,
Yeah. It's a good way to sew up your pack if you need trouble. Multi-purpose. Remembering, if something only has one use, it's useless. Don't bring it. Okay, a little more specifically about planning. I love this part of the hike. I love the phase that I'm in right now, which is getting ready for the Arizona Trail. I leave March 15th, I start the hike March 16th. So right now, I'm gathering intel, I'm talking with other hikers, watching forums, I'm on the Facebook page. You know, it's fun for me, making flight reservations, you know, and getting to the start of the trail. It's an important part of the hike, and I enjoy it. Other hikers, they just fly by the seat of their pants, you know, they just, and me too, depending on the hike. Like the southbound Appalachian Trail I did in 2015, I did that hike with about a week's notice, I think. A friend of mine said, hey, come to Maine and we'll climb Katahdin together. And I said, okay, and I split just like that. And I got away with it, but I had done that trail already, I was pretty comfortable. The Bruce Trail, I did not plan well. I was ill-prepared and ill-equipped, and I still tried to do it. So planning is important, and for me, it's fun. I'm going to talk about apps for a minute and kind of dovetail into what Jeff said. Right now, an app called Guthook has they have 100% market share on the Appalachian Trail. And I'll tell you a little history behind that. Let me see. Oh, go on the side. In 2012, I was preparing to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, and I bought this little book called Pocket PCT. And it was just miles and major landmarks, and it was real small, didn't weigh much, and I found it to be very helpful. I carried it the whole trail, I thought it was really cool. And then I heard, when I was on the trail, the guy who wrote the book, Paul Bodner, was also on the PCT. He was out there with his wife. They go by the trail names Tangent and Holstein. And I met him, and I said, I'm carrying your book, and I actually had him sign it and everything, and I thought it was kind of cool. He thought it was corny. And I said, you know so much about GPS and navigation and everything. If you were going to carry a GPS, what brand would you buy? And he said, I would not carry GPS. I would use my phone. And in 2012, that was kind of a revelation to me. I was like, no separate GPS? Everything's in the phone? He's like, yeah, man, we're working on some stuff. So he and his wife and a third guy, whose trail name was Guthook, formed a company, and they had an app that was really designed by hikers and for hikers. The beauty of it is, the most important thing is, even if you don't have a cell or data signal, with Guthook, now called Far Out, you can see where you are and where the trail is. And for me, that adds a whole another layer of safety and fun to the hike, because there's a lot less risk of getting lost out there. I always know, where I am and where the trail is. Again, without a data or cell signal, it's really just where you are in a red line. You don't get any other information, but that's all you really need is how to get back to the trail. And now there's a bunch of apps out there. There's Gaia and Far Out, and what are some other apps out there? Thank you, yeah, also very popular. But, like Jeff said, you go out there, if you're 100% dependent on your app, and you lose your phone, as I am prone to, losing and breaking phones, you're screwed. So for me, I have to carry a separate paper, map, and compass, and you have to know how to use them. I trained in navigation in the Army, and so these days I always carry backup paper, map, and compass. So I wasn't sure for the upcoming Arizona Trail how I would do that. I talked to some other hikers, people who'd done the trail already, and I said, what paper, map, and compass did you carry? And all of them said, none, just use your phone. Just use the Guthook app. And I said, yeah, I'd like to, but I tend to lose my phone, like every hike. And so there's really good maps in here, in this book, and I was gonna try to figure out a way to cut them out and like maybe blow them up a little bit and print them two-side and everything, but I just decided to cut all the unnecessary stuff out of this book, all the superfluous, there's a whole section on the geology of the area and the botany of the area, cut all that out and just keep the maps and the town notes and carry this with me. I hate it because it's heavy, but when my phone inevitably dies, I'll have this, so I'll still be able to finish the trail, I hope. These days, Guthook is now called Far Out, and they have apps for all the big trails in the United States. They now have like kayaking and waterway trails and stuff. A really cool company, and they have been very supportive of my hikes, and so I promote far out wherever I go. But again, I would take Jeff's class, and I would learn map and compass before I bet my life on my phone. Whether to buy along the way or to get resupply. So it depends on the trail, and there's advantages and disadvantages to each. The advantages to having resupply boxes sent. Number one, you can get all your favorite stuff, the things that you like to eat and use, and the right amounts of it. I want this many cakes of ramen, this many protein bars, and this many Pop-Tarts, and some batteries and a lighter. If you're buying along the way, you might just get to a Citgo station and have to resupply for a week out of there. Can you find what you really want to eat? How many Snickers bars can you eat in a week? So that's an advantage. Disadvantages to mailing resupply box. Number one, it's expensive to mail those boxes. And number two, you're leaving your hike to the U.S. Postal Service. And man, that's not a good bet these days. I hope I'm not dissing anyone in the room, but they left me high and dry several times. I felt like there'd be tons of time for the box to get there. I'd get to a town on a Friday afternoon, and they'd say, oh, it's not here. And then I'm sitting there for the whole weekend. I can't go any further until I get that box. So trusting the Postal Service, with your hike is dodgy at best. If I was buying along the way, I could have just gone to the store and bought what I needed, especially if there's a grocery store, but, that's expensive too. So advantages and disadvantages to each. On the Appalachian Trail, you can have resupply boxes sent because it's in the United States, and the post office along the trail are used to hikers coming in. They hold the boxes for you. But if you're gonna hike Mexico or Ecuador, you can't send a box down there. It'll never get there, and you may never get it. So hikes like that, Israel, Mexico, Ecuador, I had to buy along the way.